And here we go, another episode, another season, all Rell Good on the Crawford Podcasting Network with my good friend, the former Michigan standout, two-time Big Ten champion, Richard Rellford. This is like 3 or 4 seasons we've been doing this. We're having more fun all the time, even though the basketball team's a little dicey. We still embrace maize and blue and talk about the current team and talk about the good old days in the 80s when you were a two-time Big Ten champ. How you been?
Tom, it's good to be back to talk to you. We look forward to this all summer long to get back and talk the basketball thing. And listen, I'm living my best life, man.
You are, yeah. And it was so great to see you and Kayla, your lovely wife, at the Long Beach State game. I think over at Dr. Byers' suite. That was a
Yes,
lot of fun. Not a good outcome for the Wolverines. I mean, we were walking out there scratching our heads like this. Michigan had just won 3 straight games, and they beat St. John's, your brother's old team,
yes, yes.
MSP, who he played for, and all of a sudden Long Beach State comes around and they beat Michigan. I mean, that was shocking to me. How about you?
Listen, it shocked me. I thought maybe our size would have kind of overtaken with their athleticism, but they had good athletes, and I hope we learn some things from that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they have. I mean, there've been some dips. I mean they're 5-5 right now, and what I'm going to embrace, and we'll talk about the Juwan Howard situation briefly as well, because that's a glaring issue, and I
Yes.
think everybody knows what I'm talking about. But that win at Iowa City after the loss to Indiana, I mean, Michigan. I mean, in this loss to Indiana, that was a week ago, Tuesday, was that's a beatable Indiana team.
Yes,
And they
yes.
let that slip away. They got 52 points in the paint. Okay, Rich, did your Michigan teams, your two-time Big Ten champion Michigan teams,
Mhm.
ever give up 52 points in the paint? Tell me.
No, never. We had Roy Tarplin which way we wasn't giving up too much of anything in the paint.
Yeah, we need some head knockers. We need Butch in there pounding things. Terrace Reed had a bad game, but look what
Yes.
Terrace Reed did against Iowa. 19 points coming out. I mean, he was a holy terror. How can a kid flip the switch like that?
I think with Jawan being back and Martelli, I think he fed on that. I
Yeah,
think what I told you before about Reed and how I feel about him, but he has to be consistent. I love Cheddar. I'm telling you that now. I'm a Cheddar fan
cheddar cheese,
um,
baby. Yeah,
because Cheddar's going to play hard every minute that he's in the game. That's
yeah,
one of the reasons I love Cheddar. But I
yeah.
think that with Reed, we have an advantage sometimes. The only team I really see besides, the Indiana team we should have beaten is Purdue with a big
Yeah.
guy who no team can really guard, to be honest with you.
So Zach Edey. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Zach Edey.
But you know what? I mean, this Big Ten is it's not a stellar conference like it's been in the past. I mean, I think Michigan can finish in the top 5. I really think they can. And now, it's
Yes.
like when they lose, I think, oh my God, they're going to never win a game. And when they win, I think they're never going to lose a game. But they have they got some great opportunities coming up, Rich. They got Eastern Michigan at home. That's Saturday at 2:30 at Chrysler. And
Yes.
then more, that's a given. That's got to happen. But then after that, they go to Charlotte, North Carolina on Tuesday, and they play Florida. Okay. Now Florida's
Okay.
an SEC team, and this is a game they need to win. They need to, as far as their NC2A tournament resume.
Yes. Yes. Now we play in Florida.
No, that's in Charlotte. It's
Okay,
that
that was in Charlotte.
jump
Okay.
in,
Okay. Okay.
like they did
Okay.
with Carolina last year.
You know what? I was good because I was just telling my son I thought that game was here because I would love to go to that game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
I'm trying to
yeah.
decide on what game I want to go to
Yeah, you
in the
let us
next couple of
know.
weeks.
You let us know, man. We'll go with the Dr. Byers suite. We'd love to have you.
Listen, let me tell you something. You tell Dr. Myers, he's my man because I had never ever looked at the game from that view.
Yeah,
And when I tell you, man, it was one of the most enjoyable things. Yeah, we want to win. I always want to win.
yeah,
And but watching the game from that standpoint was kind of cool,
yeah,
man.
yeah. No, well, we enjoyed having you and Kayla, and that was a lot of fun. So there'll be other opportunities for that. But moving forward, so when you look at the Big Ten, I mean, you think Michigan's having problems. How about your buddy Tom Izzo and his team? They're 4-5, and they were preseason number 4. So I mean, you expect the unexpected in college basketball. What is it? The transfer portal? What are these issues that are going on with teams?
All transport portal. I totally think it's the transport portal because, before when the kid came in, he had to have a year before he could play. He had
Yeah,
a chance to train with the team to get used to it. Now he comes in from the portal and they go right away. You try to
yeah,
learn the team within the next week or so. And so I
yeah,
think it's difficult. But I'm going to be honest, Tom, I have no problem with the transport portal because I think it's fair. Uh,
yeah,
some people don't like it because how players jumping around for this certain NIL money.
yeah,
Well, the NCAA created this
yeah. They did.
because you didn't
TV
put a
money.
cap
Why are we playing games at 9 o'clock at night? 9 o'clock at night for money.
for money,
Yeah,
Tom. And my thing is I think you're changing the game because the NCAA for so many years, coaches could leave and coach next week, and players
right.
couldn't. And now the NCAA is trying to. They've gotten so much criticism that they're trying to do right by letting these kids get paid, but you didn't put a cap on the money. When I
Yeah.
see kids driving around in Porsches and Corvettes, we had that. We couldn't do that. I had a nice jacket.
Okay, come on. So you're telling me none of you guys had fancy cars that the alumni gave you? You're telling me that?
Not that alumni gave us, but we had fancy cars. But I'm gonna tell you what we did.
Okay,
We
how'd you have the
worked.
fancy cars? How did
Well,
you?
we had jobs, and some of us had jobs at car dealerships, so that was cool. That
Okay,
was the good part. You know what I mean? But
okay,
they were strained. The alumni, back then they would feed you. You would eat
yeah,
at some of the best places.
yeah,
Guys had nice stuff because and I know we talk about this all the time. Everybody loves a winner. When you're
yeah,
winning, everybody's gonna do stuff for you. Now we
yeah,
took advantage of the food in the restaurants. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. You did, huh?
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
funny. It's
For sure.
funny. It's funny after the game, after the Long Beach State game. I said to you, okay, Rich, after a loss, what would you and Butch and Tarpley and Gary Grant, what would you do? What would you do at that? Would you you wouldn't go out? I mean, you didn't
No,
want to be seen. So what was
no.
the scenario after that?
Our biggest thing was we would go to Thanos, the restaurant, which is now the M Den, ran by
Okay,
my boy Perry, and owned by Perry. We would order food, pick it up, and go back to the apartment. Never stayed there. Now we win, we stayed there, we party. But we
okay.
lose because you know what? You didn't want to hear all the students come up and say what happened.
What
We lost.
happened?
That's what happened. But
How
I gotta
about
say this time we didn't lose many my last 2 years. We didn't lose
yeah?
many.
So after a loss, what would they say in class? Would fellow students come up to you and say, "What's going on?" Or would they all
Oh
just kiss
please,
your ass when you won? Or they just
no.
ignore you?
You have the class. You have the kids who they didn't care about kissing your ass when you won. They're gonna criticize you when you lose. Well, not so much criticize you as ask you what happened, guys. We were at the game, and we could only tell them, listen, it was a bad game, or we lost. Like I said, my junior senior year, we lost what a total of 4 games, so we didn't lose
Yeah,
many. Two my
yeah,
junior year, two my senior year.
yeah. Oh yeah, 16-2 in Big Ten play.
There you
Your
go.
junior
So we
year.
didn't lose
I
many.
mean,
Yeah, yeah.
that was an amazing run. And you lost those two early on. You lost
Yes,
to
in the
Indiana,
beginning.
blown up by Indiana.
Yes,
Then you lost.
blown
Then
out.
you lost to Purdue. Who was the second one? I don't know. You were one in. Can't remember, but you were one and
Right,
two.
right.
Then
But we lost, I think, at Purdue,
yeah. Then you went 15 in a row.
15 in a row. That's
Yeah,
exactly right. So I don't
that's
know too
good.
much about losing, man.
That's good. That's good. Yes, good. Okay, so let's hit the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The situation with Juwan Howard, and initially when we were texting, it was
Yes.
this thing came out, and let me just preface it. I'm well aware of how you and Juwan are really good friends,
Mhm.
and I'm sensitive to that, and I've talked to him a number of times in the last 5 years, and I've always enjoyed conversations with him. I
Yes.
mean, he's very fair. He's much easier to interview in a post-game presser, win or lose, than Jim Harbaugh. I will tell you that right now. But
Okay.
there's been some anger management issues, if you will. So So evidently it's come out, and Michigan has not come out and been transparent, which disappoints me a little bit. I mean, a lot actually. Is that he didn't physically hit John Sanderson, but there was a altercation, at least verbal altercation, following I don't know, something that John Sanderson said about Jace not taking the treatment seriously or whatever, and we don't know, and so we won't go further in delving into that. But generally speaking, I mean, it's pretty safe to say that Juwan does need to continue to work on anger management issues. Don't you think that's a fair statement?
Well, I would say that, I don't feel anger management is really his issue. I'm going to tell you what I tell people all the time, Tom. You know how difficult it is to coach your kid? Because things get personal with your children. I know because I've had it happen with my son. I think with Juwan, and people has to think about this. He just came off a serious surgery, serious heart surgery. And I don't think he's all the way recovered. And I also think he should kind of take it easy. Because Martelli, you have one of the greatest coaches.
You got a Hall of Fame coach, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Fame coach. Take it easy. Sit back. And let Martelli do all the. Trust me, those referees know who Martelli is. They don't respect him. I think with Juwan, he has to. It's just difficult, man. Training and coaching your kid, and I think that had a lot to do with it. I don't know the whole story because I haven't really, talked to him.
Yeah.
Because I've heard like 3 or 4 different things.
I know.
And I had a guy call me the other day and said, "I heard Juwan got in a fight." First of all, Juwan ain't fighting.
Yeah.
Juwan's not. Juwan has never been a fighter. I said, but what Juwan's going to do, like most humans, you're going to protect your children.
Yeah.
I protect mine. I don't play with mine. And so until I find out everything what's going on, then I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
Yeah. No, I agree with until we know. But I mean, what I was saying is, I mean, every kid has to be held accountable. And I'll be honest with you, Rich. I am not a big fan of coach coaching his kid. In high school, I was on the high school team I played on. The coach coached his kid, and I'm not saying his kid didn't deserve playing time, but I could feel the dynamics and the tension within the team, from certain players, and I just think that's difficult. And then I go back to that Rutgers game last year in the Big Ten Championship when Jet was playing terrible, didn't box out, and I thought Juwan would take him out, and he didn't. And so those are things that, as an outside, I'm not inside those walls. You've been in the practice. Most of the program as a former player, and obviously you went through that whole process with Frieder and Fish, Frieder and Fisher was on the team or the coach, but it's so you can address it easier than me. But still, I'm just not. I think that's difficult to have that dynamic.
It is difficult. I coached my son in my basketball academy in Florida, and my son had hit 3 threes in a row as a 10-year-old, and I let him stay in the game because he's playing well. After the game that we just win, my son hit the winning shot, the last 3 for the game.
Yeah.
Do you not know I had parents who came to me and said, "You're only playing because he's your son." And I said, "Wait a minute, time out. He was playing well." Right, but I knew it was coming, Tom, and that's when I decided not to coach my kid anymore. Because that's difficult. It's difficult because you want to be fair to everybody. And I don't care what anyone says. There's always going to be a little bias. You know why? Because when I leave that gym, I'm going home with that same kid. And I get to hear him all night talk about how the game was.
Yeah.
As an adult, as a parent who doesn't have to do that, well, you're not experiencing that, and it's difficult.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. And the other thing about with Juwan, which I've been frustrated with, and this has not been addressed. I think I tried to ask Phil Martelli about it, and it didn't really get. And he's very, very straightforward with answers. But having Juwan there as an assistant, if you're going to be there, be the head coach. If you're not well enough to be the head coach, Why? Because I swear to God, this was in the Indiana game. I think we saw this in the Long Beach State game. We
Mhm.
saw kids looking at two different coaches like windshield wipers. They're looking at him. They're looking at him. And it reminded me of a youth basketball game where you have the
Mhm.
two dads doing the co-coaches, and then you got their parents coming down, and the kids looking at three different people. I mean, don't you think if Juwan's going to come back, be the head coach?
Mhm.
Otherwise, stay away, do the practicing. Don't you think?
Well, well, it's kind of difficult because it's like this. If he's there, they're going to do the same. Is he the head coach or the assistant? Because you ever see that when Martelli is talking and Jawan is there, they're going back and forth with their heads. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Frieda the same way. When we had Frieda and Fisher, we would all go the same way because we got to listen to both of them.
True, that's true. Because Sadi chimes in a lot.
Yes.
I mean, you're right. You're right. But it just, I don't know. I don't know what the dynamic is about who
I
makes
think,
decisions.
well, I think the bottom line is Jawan is the head coach, and so he's going to make the decision.
Yeah.
But I also believe he has the utmost respect for Martelli
Yeah.
because Martelli is somebody who's legendary. Izzy and all those guys, you take their input as well because they're
Yeah.
coaches. I've always said, man, two heads is better than one.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good. I love it. We'll end it on that note, man. The wisdom from Richard Rellford, the former Michigan two-time Big Ten champion. We're going to be here every week. Now that we're back in the saddle, you went on a cruise, so you did the living large thing with your wife, and then you got back and you got sick. So we got
Yes.
a little bit late start, but we're gonna pick up on it, and we'll talk again next week after that Florida game. See how they do.
Listen, man, I love this, man. I look forward to this every week.
You too, man.
So thank you, Tom. I appreciate you.
All right. Till next week.
All right,
Richard
Tom.
Crawford here in the Crawford Podcasting Network. Stay safe, people.
Stay safe. Love you.